The beacons of the capital had gone dark. Only smoke clawed at the storm-racked sky. Warden Aldrich stood at the high window, reading the silence like a death sentence. He took the master key from his belt and descended into the prison's deepest tier, past the cells of murderers and traitors, to one door he had never meant to open. The lock surrendered with a groan that echoed like a verdict. In the darkness, a pair of eyes opened. Cale had been waiting. Outside, the wind screamed against the stone. Inside, the warden stood at a threshold no keeper should cross.
The kingdom needs your maps. Get up. I've just freed the one man who can tear it all down. But there's no one else.
The warden had broken his own law. The only question was whether the kingdom would pay the price.
You'd risk everything on a forgotten prisoner. Either you are desperate or lying.
The capital is ash. The beacons are dead. I don't have the luxury of caution. Lead me through the smuggler tunnels to the mountain passes, and you walk free.
Freedom means nothing if I am still a condemned man. I want the High Lord's sealed confession from your vault.
That prisoner knows about the vault. This isn't about escape, it's about the document. Fine. The confession for the route. But if you betray me, I'll seal you back in the cell myself.
They moved through the prison like two ghosts, one sworn to hold the walls, the other to tear them down. In the warden's vault, behind a false wall, the iron lockbox had waited for years.
There it is. The truth that could topple the crown. You guarded it more closely than any prisoner.
The deal was struck in silence, sealed with a parchment that had outlasted an empire's worth of sins.
The seal is unbroken. The High Lord's confession. My innocence, in my hands. In my hands.
Innocence. That document will damn the crown, but it won't save you if we're caught. Move.
They slipped through the prison's forgotten arteries, where even the guards' patrols never reached. In a storage room thick with dust and rotting crates, Aldrich pressed an iron sconce that had never seen flame. Stone ground against stone. A section of wall pivoted inward, releasing a breath of stale air from a darkness deeper than night. One by one, they stepped through the portal into the mountain's gut. The air was cold and dead. Aldrich struck a flint. The torch sputtered to life, revealing a narrow tunnel that sloped downward into the unknown.
The smuggler's entrance. I mapped it years ago, before my arrest.
He mapped it. Of course he did. Every hidden corner of this kingdom is in his head. Then lead. The guards will discover the empty cell soon.
Above them, in Durnhold's lower tier, a guard's torch found the empty cell, and the broken lock. The alarm bell shattered the night. Its echo chased them down the throat of the tunnel. Cale moved without pause, choosing left fork over right, as if the mountain had whispered the way.
How far to the first junction? You haven't stopped to check anything.
The tunnels. Remember the footfalls of every cartographer who mapped them. I don't need to stop.
Even in total dark, he never hesitates. Not a single wrong turn.
Behind them, the guards' torches bobbed into the hidden passage, their shouts a distant thunder. Aldrich and Cale pressed deeper. The air grew thin and wet.
He's leading more like a general than a mapmaker. I've seen this before in wartime scouts.
The warden's hand rested on his sword hilt. He was walking behind a prisoner, but he felt like he was following a predator. The guards' torches drew closer, their orange light flooding the tunnel behind them, like a rising tide.
Douse the torch. There's an alcove.
They slid into a crack in the rock, holding their breath, as the guards stormed past. The guards' torchlight swept over the hidden hollow and moved on, footsteps fading into the mountain's silence.
You know these tunnels too well. What aren't you telling me?
I spent years drawing these passages. Doubt me now and you'll never see daylight again.
He's deflecting again. That same calm, like he's already won.
They crept forward again, the silence between them colder than the tunnel's air.
The way out is a day's march through the mountain. Save your questions for when the guards aren't on our heels.
Aldrich tightened his grip on the sword. Trust was a luxury this prison had long since stripped away. For an hour they twisted through the mountain, Aldrich counting every turn. Kale took without pause.
He hasn't glanced at a map once. No charcoal, no parchment. Just dead reckoning. Stop. You just chose a path without even looking. Where are we on your map?
The map is in my head. I don't need to stare at parchment to know these walls.
Nobody memorizes 100 miles of smuggler tunnels. Not even a cartographer.
I drew the original charts. Every crack, every dead end, it's my curse. Now let's move.
As they passed a crumbling wall, Aldrich's torch caught an ancient map carved into the stone, its lines still clear.
This matches our path. Every turn we took is marked here. He's not remembering. He's following a plan.
Admire the art later. The guards won't grant us a reprieve for sightseeing.
Aldrich filed the memory away, a splinter of proof he could not yet pull. He followed, but not as a partner. Aldrich's boot scuffed against something on the tunnel floor. A crumpled scrap of parchment. He held it to the torchlight. Not a smuggler's map. Marching lines, troop counts, invasion arrows.
This isn't escape. This is a campaign. Every turn we've taken is a route for an army.
The map in his hand painted a picture. Soldiers pouring through the hidden passes, straight to the throne's heart.
I freed an invader. Every step is a countdown to the throne room.
He shoved the evidence into his coat next to the confession. 2 secrets bound by the same treason.
Warden, you are slowing. Did you find something interesting, or are your old legs finally failing?
Just keeping watch. Lead on. No more doubts. This ends with me stopping him, or the kingdom burns.
The warden walked on, carrying the weight of a war in his pocket, and a liar at his back.
Enough lies. I found this on the ground. Your invasion map.
Smugglers use old military marks to scare off patrols. You see what you fear?
I see troop numbers and supply lines. You are leading an army straight to the throne.
The throne? I am leading us to an exit. Believe your paranoia if you want.
A shout echoed from behind. The guards had doubled back, torchlight flooding the tunnel. They crammed into a narrow fissure, breath held as the patrols stormed past, torches licking the stone.
That was too close. You are leading me out, or I'll drag you back to a cell.
Save your threats for the guards. You still need my eyes in the dark.
He's right, but once we're out, he won't need his eyes anymore.
The warden fell into step behind the inmate, the confession heavy in his coat, the map fragment, a blade waiting to be drawn. The silence between them thickened like the mountain's own breath, heavy and cold.
He hasn't spoken a word since the guards passed. That's worse than his lies.
Kale moved with a new economy, his gestures clipped, his eyes darting to cross tunnels, as if measuring distances.
He's checking for followers, but he won't share what he sees. I am just a tool to carry the torch.
The tunnel split ahead, a fork of 3 paths, each a mouth of black. Without pause, Kale chose the leftmost path, his stride unbroken.
Left? According to the map, that leads deeper under the mountain, not out.
The map is incomplete. The right path is a dead end. Trust the cartographer.
Incomplete, or designed to lead me away from the truth. Either way, I have no choice but to follow.
He stepped into the left tunnel, the weight of the confession and the fragment pressing against his ribs. The mountain swallowed them both. Aldrich seized Kale's arm, forcing him to halt. The tunnel's damp breath coiled between them, cold and accusing.
Where does this path end? No more games, Kale.
The throne room. You knew that the moment you found the map.
So you admit the coup. You are still leading an invasion.
The map was drawn for a coup, but I abandoned it. The High Lord betrayed me first.
Words are cheap. Why should I believe you've abandoned a plan you mapped for years?
Because the outer routes are sealed. This is the only path that hasn't collapsed. I choose survival over loyalty.
Survival. A convenient excuse. But I've heard the groan of rock. Perhaps he's telling the truth about the collapses.
A distant rumble echoed from deep within the stone, As if to punctuate the lie or the truth, Aldrich's hand tightened on the confession. He followed, knowing the real test was still ahead. They walked in uneasy silence, the confession of the coup a raw nerve between them.
The High Lord threatened everything I loved. He said he'd execute my family if I refused.
Family, a convenient shield for a traitor, but his voice cracked. Was that real pain?
I drew the map under duress, but I stole this confession as insurance. It's why I was imprisoned. This document proves the High Lord's treachery. It was my only shield against his blade.
And the invasion army? Are they still waiting for your signal to march?
They wait beyond the passes, but without me, they're blind. I never sent the signal.
Never sent it. Then, why does this path lead to the throne? One truth hides another.
A shout shattered the darkness behind them. The guards had doubled back, torches blazing.
Move. We'll finish this conversation when we're not about to be pinned to the wall.
They fled the shouts, the tunnel walls narrowing as they ran, the torch's flame a frantic heartbeat.
He's still on the invasion route. Every marker matches the fragment.
Just one more turn. The exit isn't far now.
The exit to where? The throne room or the open air?
The tunnel yawned open before them, splitting into a second fork of 3 paths. Kale pointed to the center path without a heartbeat of thought.
Which path leads out, and which leads to the throne? Tell me the truth.
They all lead out eventually. The center is fastest. You'll have to trust me a little longer.
Center. That's the throne path. He's not just lying, he's still leading the invasion.
The fork stood between them. Salvation one way, annihilation the other, and Kale had already made his choice. Aldrich's sword sang from its sheath, the steel's ring echoing against the stone as he blocked the path.
The center leads to the throne, your invasion route. I am done following.
You want the truth, Warden? The coup was never abandoned. Your keys are the last piece.
You used me to unlock the mountain's inner gate, the one only a warden can open.
Precisely. Your precious duty will be the kingdom's undoing. Now, step aside, or I'll take the key from your corpse.
I'll die before I open that gate for you. This ends here.
The 2 men squared off in the dark. The only sound the drip of water and the distant shouts of guards. Kale's hand slipped into his rags, revealing a hidden knife that glinted with deadly intent.
So be it. I've waited years for this. You are just another obstacle.
No choice. I am the last jailer. I'll have to seal us both in here if I can't stop him. You'd sell the kingdom for a handful of coins and a dead lord's revenge. You are no patriot. You are a pawn.
Patriot? The same kingdom that locked me away for drawing the truth. It deserves to burn.
Then, you are no better than the tyrants you serve.
Better? I am the only one who sees clearly. You are blinded by duty to a crown that is already ash.
The air crackled with the heat of their hatred, the torch's flame shuddering as if sensing the impending violence. Aldrich lunged first, his blade a silver flash in the dark, but Kale's knife met it with a shriek of steel.
Your anger makes you predictable, old man.
He's right. I can't outfight him. I have to outthink him.
Sparks flew as they clashed, the tunnel echoing with the sound of their deadly dance, each strike a whisper of the end. They broke apart, chests heaving, neither willing to concede the path. The real fight was yet to come. Aldrich pulled the confession from his coat, holding it above the torch's hungry flame.
Burn it, and your innocence dies with it. I still have leverage.
Leverage? The invasion is already marching. Your beacons were a lie I fed to the ancient enemy.
The ancient enemy at the gates. It was a diversion. All of it to empty the throne room.
Kale's smile widened, the flickering torchlight carving his face into a mask of triumph.
The coup is happening now. Your keys are the last lock between them and the throne.
Outside the mountain, the distant drum of boots echoed through the stone, a heartbeat of the coming storm.
No time for careful plans. I have to end this now, or the throne falls tonight.
He lowered the confession, his knuckles white on the parchment. The choice stripped away all doubt. The warden raised his sword once more. The last jailer would not surrender the key. Aldrich lunged, his sword a silver arc, but Cale was faster, his knife deflecting the blow with a shriek of tormented metal.
You've been outmaneuvered since the moment you opened my cell. This path was always mine.
Cale's blade sliced across Aldrich's ribs, not deep, but enough to draw a gasp and a ribbon of blood.
Keep him talking. Stagger toward the wall. There's a lever, the one from the map fragment.
Aldrich's back hit the stone, his hand brushing a massive iron lever embedded in the rock, cold and waiting.
The release mechanism. Step away, Warden. That's the gate to the throne.
Cale shoved past Aldrich, his fingers closing around the lever, a triumphant cry on his lips.
If I can't stop him, maybe I can change the destination.
Aldrich threw his weight against Cale, twisting the lever in the opposite direction, with a grinding roar. The tunnel shuddered, dust raining from the ceiling, the mechanism's outcome, hidden in the shroud of falling stone. The ceiling collapsed in a roar of shattered stone. When the dust settled, the north passage was a wall of rubble, and Cale's scream was the last sound it would ever carry. Aldrich pulled himself from the rubble, his side wet with blood. The confession lay a few feet away, still sealed. He broke the wax seal with trembling fingers. The High Lord's confession, bought with betrayal and blood, unspooled before him.
I, the High Lord, do conspire with Cale the cartographer to seize the throne, the truth that should have freed him. Now buried with him, the kingdom will never hear this, but the route is sealed. No army marches tonight.
He folded the confession and tucked it back into his coat. His keys, still at his belt, were heavier than ever.
I've become the last jailer, not of a prison, but of a mountain. My sentence is to walk out of here alone.
The distant shouts of the guards were growing closer. He could not stay. He chose the south tunnel, not toward the throne, but toward the unknown. He limped into the darkness, the confession, his only companion. Behind him, the sealed pass stood as his final decree as warden. Somewhere beyond the mountain, the kingdom would wake to another morning. The cost would remain a secret, locked in the stone with the cartographer. The guards' shouts were closer now, their torchlight licking the stone behind him. Aldrich pushed deeper into the south tunnel, his wound a burning reminder that time was his enemy. The path ended abruptly, a sheer wall of unyielding rock, wet with the cold sweat of the mountain. There were no passages, no handholds, just the mockery of solid stone where freedom should have been.
Cale's map fragment. It showed a mechanism here, a hidden release. Think.
He fumbled in his coat, pulling out the blood-stained parchment, the invasion arrows mocking him.
There, a symbol on the margin, a lever drawn faintly at the far right.
The map had been drawn for conquest, but now it was the only key to his escape. Aldrich's fingers traced the wall until they found the seam, a lever concealed in the granite's grain. The mechanism was ancient, untouched for centuries. One pull would decide if he lived or joined the dead in the dark. Aldrich pulled with the last of his strength. The ancient machinery screamed, and the wall began to slide open. After an eternity of darkness, daylight stabbed into the tunnel like a blade. He crawled out of the mountain's throat and collapsed on the cold stone of a narrow ledge far below. The invasion army was halted, their columns turning back, broken by the sealed pass.
It worked. The kingdom stands. But at what cost? The confession. Proof of Cale's innocence and the crown's betrayal. Now only I know. The kingdom will never know what happened here. Perhaps that's for the best.
The sun set over the mountains, painting the sky in the color of dried blood. He clutched the confession, the last testament to a traitor's redemption and a warden's fall. The warden had become the jailer of a mountain, and the last key was the truth he would carry to his grave. Aldrich slumped against the cold rock, his vision blurring. The confession slipped from his fingers, landing in a puddle of his own blood. The parchment soaked in crimson, the words of treason and redemption slowly dissolving into illegibility.
I freed a traitor and saved a kingdom. The irony isn't lost on me.
He remembered Kale's eyes in that cell. Not a monster, just a man broken by the same crown Aldrich served.
In the end, we were both prisoners. He of the map, I of the keys.
His breathing slowed. The confession lay beside him, the last key to a door that would never open.
Durnhold. The empty cell will still be there. Someone else will have to lock it.
He thought of his chair in the warden's office, the key on the desk. No one would sit there again.
I did my duty. I kept the kingdom safe. That has to be enough.
The wind howled over the ledge, carrying the scent of distant smoke. The warden closed his eyes. The last sliver of sun vanished beyond the peaks. The ledge fell into a violet twilight. His breath came once more, shallow, a mere whisper against the stone, and then ceased. The confession lay in his open palm, the broken wax seal a scar of its revelation. A gust of mountain wind snatched the parchment from his grasp. It tumbled, weightless, into the abyss. It joined the smoke of the distant fires, the truth of innocence and treason dissolving into the same gray haze. Aldrich's body remained on the ledge, a silent sentinel over the kingdom he had saved in secret. Back in Durnhold, the warden's chair gathered dust. The key on the desk caught the first light of dawn, a memorial to the last jailer. The kingdom never learned of the cartographer's map, nor the warden's impossible choice. The truth of a coup and its defeat remained locked in the mountain, with only the wind and the stone to remember. And somewhere on a forgotten ledge, the warden who had been the kingdom's last hope lay still, his duty finally done. In Durnhold, the silence was deeper than the night that had swallowed the beacons. The chair stood empty, the key untouched, as they would remain until the stone crumbled to dust. No one would ever know the weight that key had carried, the choices it had unlocked. The confession was gone, scattered to the wind, its ink washed clean by the rain. But the kingdom endured, its salvation a ghost in the stone, a secret kept by the dead. The warden's name would not be sung, nor the cartographer's crime absolved. Yet in the cold mountain air, his duty held, unyielding, unseen, a single key, a silent testament to the last jailer who chose the kingdom over himself. The mountain remembered, even if the world below would not. And so the last jailer's watch ended, not with a farewell, but with an eternity of silence.